What's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. And to start off, I've been noticing something, just a trend generally, that most top trainers have been keeping their teams a bit more private. Just as we reach the end of Regulation C, North American Internationals coming up, and haven't been sharing their rental teams quite as frequently. And personally, I tend to practice by playing with successful teams in the meta, just to better understand the meta as a whole. So I guess I developed a skill set over the years that I'm pretty proud of in my ability to recreate teams to a reasonably accurate level, just based off stream footage and intuition. So today I'm here with that. I'm here with a recreation of Emilio Forbes' Dominate Championship team from Fresno Regionals, which I've shared on the screen here and in the description, along with the Pokepaste. It has some conventional choices, like the Amoonguss, Arcanine, and Fluttermane core, which has been really common the whole season, but outside of that has some really interesting innovations on balance that I'm really excited to share. So first off, we have the really offensive Terra Dark Black Glasses Swords Dance Kingambit set. It's a set that can really force opponents to react to you, which is kind of contrary to the more reactive nature of balance we kind of know it to be. Iron Hands really excels with this set. You can fake out any threats that threaten out the Kingambit and reposition with Volt Switch to get into an even more favorable position after you've gotten a Swords Dance, just with a quick Volt Switch Protect combination. Fluttermane even has Trick Room, which is a really interesting way to even further pressure with your slower Iron Hands and Kingambit. There's not a lot scarier than a +2 Kingambit with Black Glasses Terra Dark in Trick Room. That now you don't even have to play any Sucker Punch mind games, so that's a really cool addition. The last, more subtle, interesting thing that I noticed from the stream was Emilio's Iron Bundle's EV spread. We never saw Emilio's HP stat. He was always on the top screen as far as I could tell, but based on the damage it was dealing and receiving, it looked to be a bit bulkier than the variations we've been used to, and take that with a grain of salt, as obviously I don't know the EVs of the Pokemon it was hitting, hitting it, but just kind of got the sense that it was a bit bulkier, so I've EV'd mine as such. But overall, Emilio went 16-1 in sets with the team against some of the best players in the US, like Gavin Michaels, Zach Thornburg, just to name a few, and he went 13-1 in Swiss and then 3-0 in the top 8, obviously, to win the whole championship. So I'm really excited to be sharing this rental with you, and so you guys can enjoy the team for yourselves. Alright, and now with all that being said, let's get into some in-game ranked battles, just to highlight some of the team strengths in action, and I hope you guys enjoy. Joe Raven, a Rain team with 1, 2, 3, 4 Pokemon who are water types, and a Klefki. So obviously Iron Bundle, really strong here. This might be one of those battles where Wild Charge would be pretty nice on Iron Hands, but hey, beggars can't be choosers there. Gambit's really strong against, he gets a Swords Dance up against everything but the Klefki and the Chien-Pao. And I guess the Palafin as well. But Amoonguss, I think, is something I'm going to save in back here. Yeah. I think I'm going to go with these Pokemon. Just because they give me a lot of immediate pressure against my opponent. Then I can sort of, after they've burned their resources offensively in the early game, I can sort of clean up with Amoonguss protecting Iron Bundle in the late game. Also worth bearing in mind, they don't have a lot of ways to touch Iron Bundle outside of maybe a sneaky close combat on Barraskewda, Hurricane of course, and then specifically the Chien-Pao. So if I can preserve my Amoonguss's Terra type and Terrastalize into a water type. Okay, so what they end up doing is pretty wise. So what I'm going to do here is Trick Room would be pretty funny, I won't lie. That'd actually be really good if I could just Trick Room, but I don't think that's necessarily correct. It might be. It actually is. Because I feel like Amoonguss and Gang. Okay. Terra Ghost would be no bueno here. Terra Fire. Okay, not out of the woods yet. It still could be Covert Cloak or something like that. No Protect on the Pelipper. Hurricane. Hopefully that doesn't confuse. Alright. Be Covert. Oh no, it can't. So if I'd gone for Dazzling Gleam there, that probably would have been pretty close to ideal. I'm gonna go out into Amoonguss here and Volt Switch. Yeah, that's definitely not ideal, but obviously I can't reverse my Trick Room. I've wasted a lot of resources to get it up. Now I am leaving myself susceptible to a Hurricane into the Amoonguss slot. Yeah. So we go for Volt Switch, does a big chunk into Pelipper. I think we'll go now into Fluttermane. I might be sacrificing it, but I really can't afford to lose my Iron Bundle, I don't think. Hydro Pump into Amoonguss, very nice, they miss. Liquidation into Amoonguss, okay, that's awesome. Just monitoring our board state here. We have 3 turns of Trick Room left. Could be a bit troublesome. There's safety goggles here, but I think that's worth playing into. Okay. Because if they are that, all they do is take a knockout onto Amoonguss or get a lot of damage onto Fluttermane. The first case meaning I get Iron Hands back in and knock out their Barraskewda and just continue getting offensive pressure off in Trick Room. But importantly, we got rid of their Terra Pokemon. The Fire Terra is interesting. It would have forced me to go for a Hydro Pump later in the game, but really I was... Okay, and Klefki's in. So something I really like here is Shadow Ball into that. And... I think Amoonguss is just really hard for them to beat. I don't really want to give it up. I'd like to force them to, potentially wake up on the Pelipper. And if they don't, I get a knockout. But I really don't want to cede my position and potentially let my Iron Hands take a Dazzling Gleam it doesn't want to. Okay, nice. Pelipper stays asleep. And Shadow Ball, which should be knocking out the Pelipper, even despite Light Screen. They only get the Light Screen up on the Klefki, which is really nice. Let's see what their last is. It is Chien Pao. Something I like here is just playing it clean, going right into Iron Hands. Going for Spore onto Chien Pao. Yeah, so the unconventional Trick Room on the Fluttermane obviously proved pretty effective for Emilio in Best of 3 Open Sheet, but it's way more potent in Best of 1 in a lot of ways. Just because, I'm going to play the Fluttermane most battles like a Choice Specs Fluttermane, but in this case I sort of let it as a half, okay, I just want damage option, and half, okay, take out Trick Room, another really classic combination. If you give me that, I'll take it. Alright, so the Chien Pao in position now, but not too worried about it. The Chien Pao in position to get a first turn wake and do a lot of damage, but I think a Rage Powder is probably... Ice Spinner can't knock out Iron Hands. I'm fairly sure of that, so maybe my best play... Cover Klefki waking up. Probably just protect Amoonguss, actually. I've been playing a lot with Clear Spawning Amoonguss this series, so I think, yeah, So I was going to predict that and Spore the Klefki in a way. I was going to predict, really just cover it waking up, but I think Protect really serves the purpose here. Okay, and they were not Focus Sash Chien-Pao, so maybe if they're Choice Banded and Adamant, Ice Spinner could have knocked me out. Yeah, probably should have Rage Powder there. I mean, given what we saw, I probably should have Rage Powdered, but this game feels pretty close to locked down. You just can't break through Iron Hands, even with Dazzling Gleam. Maybe if they had Swagger, and they just confused all my Pokemon and I never hit them again, they might have a chance, but given you can't Thunder Wave an Electric type like Iron Hands, yeah, they're going to lock in the forfeit. Floatzel. Alright. Yeah, so I mean, Amoonguss kind of handles this team outside of the Chi-Yu. What I'm going to do is lead to beat the Chi-Yu. Do I have to apply pressure that early game? I don't think so. I'd like to have a switch in for Chi-Yu. I think Arcanine does really well here, actually. Obviously, Safety Goggles makes it immune to Spore and Rage Powder against the other Amoonguss. Fares well into Wo-Chien. It fares well into Fluttermane. It lets me intimidate Floatzel, and yeah, I think that's a pretty good justification for it. Gambit feels like I'd have to Terra it for it not to be a liability. That just opens up Fluttermane to do a lot of damage, and Iron Bundle could be pretty good. But I feel like Fluttermane outspeeds and hits everything hard enough that I don't have to go for Hydro Pump into Chi-Yu. Which, 80% of the time that's really positive for me, but we're only playing this battle one time, so that 1 in 5 could again be this time, in which case, yeah, I'd rather take Fluttermane, considering that Chi-Yu are often Focus Sash, and Moonblast and Hydro Pump both 2-hit KO a Focus Sash Chi-Yu. We see Sableye and Fluttermane. So my first thought here is, oh crap. I wonder if they're going to Terra and then Sunny Day and just knock out my Iron Hands. That's definitely a viable play for them. I think what I'll do is Rage Powder and Heavy Slam. This does, okay. So I would have overcommitted if I had gone simply for a Wo-Chien, okay. If I had gone for a Terra Grass here, it would have been a bit of an overcommitment. Now I just get a safe Rage Powder off and get a Heavy Slam Skill Swap. Okay. Oh. No. No. No, you shouldn't have done that. Definitely not. Okay, so if they're going to give me Prankster Spore, I'll definitely take full advantage of that. Now the speed advantage they had on their Fluttermane is about to be whenever it comes back in. Drain Punch probably knocks out Wo-Chien based off the Heavy Slam damage. Unless they're baiting me into not going for Rage Powder, so they can Will-O-Wisp my Iron Hands and then make a come from behind victory with their Terra Grass Fluttermane in the late game, which is certainly possible. But, okay. Okay. No, they just skill swapped me because they know I'm stupid. Yeah, quite literally. Oh my god. So I kind of just flashed back to the Pokemon Challenges video where he had what was it? Whimsicott Breloom Pokemon Fusion, And yeah, I got a little overzealous there. But unless they terrestrialize their Wochien into something that could live this double up with the 4x super effective Palm Puff and then Drain Punch, yeah, no, this knocks them out. Yeah. So, worst case, all I was going to do is just burn their terrestrialization. And best case, I take a knockout here. Yeah, so pretty bad misstep there. I should have just Rage Powdered, and I would have gotten, a burned Amoonguss, but not a burned Iron Hands. And then, yeah, but that's such an obscure... Yeah, I mean, I just saw green. I saw money signs whenever I saw them Prankster my Amoonguss, so not much we can do there. What I'm going to do here is actually not go for Heavy Slam. I'm going to be going for a Volt Switch into the Sableye, just because I think if I can get my Flutter Mane in, suddenly I can just Rage Powder Dazzling Gleam all day long, and whenever they wake up, just go for a Spore. So here's Chi-Yu. Ooh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so they have... Yeah, they're double immune to my Spore there, just because they have the Dark type and the safety goggles, but thankfully I still have my Flutter Mane in play, so I can pretty safely just go here, and then I guess I'm just deciding now between... Again, I'm not Clear Smog Amoonguss, there's Protect on Amoonguss, so it's just so valuable on Amoonguss, because a lot of times on the Clear Smog Amoonguss variants, you're more or less forced to go for something like a... Let's not get overzealous, though. Go for a normal Dazzling Gleam. But yeah, like I was saying, you have to go for your Terra a lot of the times when you want to keep Amoonguss on the field against something threatening, like a Talonflame or a Chi-Yu, just anything that can knock it out in its natural typing. You have to waste your entire Terra type to answer it. But now I can just protect and hold my Amoonguss on the field, and the onus is kind of on them to figure out a way around it. Yeah, they pretty much had to cover me being Clear Smog and not protecting. But now I've preserved my Terra type, and I've preserved my... Yeah, I can easily just Terrestrialize my... Ooh. Yeah, this pretty much locked up. Now I just go for Spore. Actually, the play I'm thinking should usually win me the game is Spore into Flutter Mane, then Terrestrialize into the Fairy type. Sorry. Terra into Fairy type, and then go for a Dazzling Gleam, which should knock out Chi-Yu. But if they're Terra Fairy, that could be a bit of an issue. Terra Grass, that could be an issue. Yeah, I think so unreasonably uncommon as a Terra type on Flutter Mane, I'm just going to go for my Terra Fairy play. Especially with them switching in and out so many times with the Flutter Mane in front of the Spore, I think it just really narrows down what might be like a 10%, 5% chance for that to be the case, down to a 0. And yeah. Shy of a Lumberry or a Chesto Berry here, we should be chilling. Yep. And then a Terra attack is basically 1.3 times stronger, roughly, than a normal attack, so we were definitely knocking out that Chi-Yu most of the time. Unless we high rolled last time and low rolled this time, yeah. And to add insult to injury, we are the faster Flutter Mane. So we'll just go for Pollen Puff, Dazzling Gleam. Yeah, and they cancel the battle. Cool. Thanks 6, and we're about to get into Great Ball tier. Just one more battle. This will definitely be the last one of this session. Ali, rank 6. Let's give each other all we got. Ooh, and we have Justin Tang's initial regional winning team. So we kind of have the evolution of balance a bit here. And notably, I think we don't handle Iron Bundle too well at all. Okay, I like this a lot. I think this is pretty strong. First game I'll be bringing, maybe not the first game, but the first one will be bringing a lot of it. Terra Grass Iron Hands option could be pretty dangerous, but man, Fluttermane. Like, Iron Bundle is just so good against everything but Fluttermane. Do I have to do that, though? I'd say I don't. I think I'm kind of content just bringing my Wall Breaker and Gambit. Like, earlier in the format, like maybe in the middle, there were some people saying that just this Swords Dance King Gambit with the Lumberry more or less broke the balance mirror in your favor. So I'm kind of going to be testing that theory here. Instead of going for the Iron Bundle, which might be more optimal, but we see Fluttermane and Mungus, which kind of looks like a free Spore for me. It very much does. Yeah, I'm going to go for that. They want to give me a ton of momentum. Yeah, I probably should be just going after their... Okay, Chiempao is definitely not what you want to do in that situation. Arcanine, which they might not have brought, would have been very good for them. Okay, this is one of those situations where it's right team, wrong player. They have objectively a regional winning team, but they probably aren't using it entirely correctly, or as optimally as they should be. So now we just go for something like this. Break their Focus Sash on Chiempao. Yeah, this is looking pretty wrapped. Kind of struggled to see how they win this. I'm pretty sure this always knocks them out. Black Glasses it does. Then I'll break their Focus Sash. Okay. They take away Sword of Ruin, which is definitely a reasonable call from them, but they don't break their sleep. They don't go through their first turn of sleep on Chiempao, which is something to keep in mind, is when it hits the field next, it will still kind of have a dead turn. But, yeah, we got the Scary Face King Gambit. Ready at +2 to knock out this Amogus, most likely. Yep. If I wanted to get really cheeky, I could have covered the Chiempao staying in with a Spore, but I think breaking the Focus Sash meant that a Sucker Punch into that would have just knocked it out, and this is really just worth my while here. We're Booster Energy. I believe we're in a good enough spot, though. For a simple Sucker Punch Spore is good enough for us here. So they stay in with Dragapult, which means point blank that slot evaporates this turn. And Fluttermane, depending on their bulk, a Sucker Punch might have been able to knock out. But we'll be able to Spore that this turn. Which means our Fluttermane in the back against their sleeping Fluttermane, and then their sleeping Chien-Pao is probably just going to take us home. Especially given they went for Dazzling Gleam. Doesn't even knock out Kingambit. Now it's really, really not in their favor. Because I can just go for Kowtow Cleave and a Kowtow Cleave and a Pollen Puff into the Chien-Pao, and that's an instant knockout. No reason to fuss about. Let's just go for the clicking buttons moves. So if they had Spored in that first turn and switched into Arcanine, I would have been playing around with sleep turns, but I think their Arcanine wouldn't have been doing that much, and I would have been able to switch into my own Arcanine, and back into Amoonguss, get a Pollen Puff off, and then be, burning a couple turns with my Kingambit to the point where as soon as I wake up, the game is really, really dicey for them. Alright, let's see how much this quote-unquote resisted hit does. Yeah. 999%. Easy KO. And yeah, now we go for Sucker Punch and 4. Let's see if that would have knocked out in the first place. Ooh, not quite. We do wake up though, but Pollen Puff covers. I Spored, I didn't Pollen Puff because I wasn't sure how much that would do. I could have potentially lost, I guess. They're a faster. I never lose this, but Pollen Puff is definitely the more correct play there, given that it speeds the battle up 1 turn, and I can just go for an extreme speed with Arcanine to clean up any potential HP left on that Flutter in all circumstances. Beep whoop. Yeah. Amoonguss, when you're the Black Glasses set, is definitely the best for them, but it's also pretty exploitable if you don't lead Kingambit. So, yeah. And that's a win, and that'll put us in the Great Ball tier. Yeah, that was today's battles with Emilio Forbes' first place team at Fresno Regionals. Pretty good battles overall. I think it showed off a lot of the team's strengths, particularly the Iron Hands and the Kingambit combination. Really enables that to set up even more effectively than just having Amoonguss on the team. So yeah, overall really incredible run from Emilio, and you can really see the strength of the team. So yeah, that'll be it for today. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and be back for more